Hey, what's up, everybody? So, I've been playing a lot of Wuthering Waves the past couple of days, and once you get to rank 27, you unlock this really cool new thing. It's essentially challenge bosses, and so most of the game's been relatively easy overall. The last closed beta was a lot harder than this one, and they kind of nerfed some of the bosses probably so a more casual audience can kind of get into the game and not just get crushed early on. So I was a little bit worried. I was thinking, well, this doesn't seem that hard. Where's the challenge? Is it going to be really late? Like, how do we know what it's going to be like? So I thought I would try this, and, I was streaming about 8 hours, and I ended my stream at about 13 hours because I was just spam fighting these bosses. There's 4 so far that I've seen. Maybe there's more when you get to a higher level, but each one has different difficulties up to level 6. Right now, you're able to do level 1 through 3. But overall, you're going to be severely underleveled and undergeared. These fights are really, really challenging. When you do level 1, you're going to think, well, this is pretty simple. This isn't really that bad at all. But once you get to level 2, the enemies start to become more aggressive. They usually get more mechanics as well. Level 3 will be similar to level 2 as well, but I'm thinking level 4 might add new mechanics as well. I've heard some people tell me about moves that I hadn't really seen at all, so I'm assuming it's in the later fights. And overall, the fights are really, really good. A big problem that I always had with Genshin is it felt like there wasn't really a great metric to challenge yourself. Sure, there's Abyss, which is also timed like this game mode, but it just didn't really feel all that great. You're just fighting a bunch of mobs, and a lot of the bosses in Genshin, I didn't really get this sense of satisfaction when I would beat. These bosses, though, there's a lot to learn with their patterns, how they attack, learning which abilities you want to parry, and you get rewarded for parrying. Because not only are you breaking their stagger gauge faster, but that's giving you a big DPS window, so that you're actually able to fight against the timer more. Also, I got way better at the game fighting these. Just way better at reacting to things, recognizing when parries are coming, just learning everything about the game, learning how to swap more strategically between my characters. But this boss that you see right here, this boss took me about 2 to 3 hours or something. This is difficulty 3, and it's insanely difficult for me. But one of the biggest problems, and the reason why it took me so long, is it's actually really buggy. It's an insanely bugged boss. The other 3 bosses I fought, I didn't really see many bugs. This one, however, was chock full of them. All the time, you'll parry the boss, and then for some reason, you'll take damage after as though you didn't parry. I'm not sure if this is a server issue connecting with my client or something along those lines, or if the boss is just incredibly screwed up. But either way, I lost many, many runs to that. And overall, I think the boss is pretty fair. Another issue, I think that the camera is pretty bad. Often the camera will just go all over the place, it'll lose track of the enemy. I actually had times where the camera would be inverse, where the enemy would be towards me, and I would be on the opposite side, and it would actually invert my controls, which is ridiculous. That should never happen. So I think they definitely need to work on that. I think that the feel of the combat is great. I think switching in and out of the different characters is really good. All the skills feel good. I think that the echoes feel rewarding and pretty solid, although maybe want a little bit more variety rather than just most of them doing damage. I think that the combat system as a whole is really, really nice. I will say, however, when fighting these bosses, one of the biggest things is you swap characters out specifically for that intro attack when they come into the fight. And that intro attack takes away a lot of stagger gauge, and I didn't really notice that on the normal bosses. I guess it does incentivize you to swap, but I do feel like it might make it so that the game is a little bit too much of just spam attacks until you get that, then swap. Spam attacks until you get that, then swap. But I do think that has some pretty cool things because you can actually use that swap at a moment's notice when you want to parry attack, for instance, which I think is really cool. All in all, this game actually seems like it has a lot of promise to me. I was feeling a little bit worried, but if they're able to make actually high quality boss battles that kind of make me feel the same as when I play a game like Dark Souls or Elden Ring, where I just want to keep fighting them. I keep losing and I keep wanting to fight and banging my head against the wall until I finally win and I get that wave of satisfaction watching over me. I want more of that, and this game seems to be delivering that so far. The 4 bosses, there's like this lightning guy, and he's insanely hard. Almost all of his attacks are parryable, but he really mixes them up and he starts to get really confusing, and he's really, really difficult. Then there's the monkey boss. The monkey boss at level 1 is the hardest of all the bosses. He starts off crazy at level 1 when most characters or most bosses, are a little more relaxed and they give you time to breathe. He's just all over you from level 1. And then there's 2 bird bosses. There's a light bird boss and a dark bird boss. The first part of this video is the light bird boss. That one, I think, is the easiest of all the bosses, the only level 3 fight I was actually able to beat. And the dark version of the bird, it has a lot more camera issues I found, but it didn't really seem bugged. It's a decent fight as well. I didn't like it as much, though. But if they're able to deliver all this early on in the beta, and it's pretty unpolished at the moment, then I'm pretty hopeful that they'll actually be able to make a good, solid endgame. I think it's really difficult to make challenging PvE, but these bosses seem good enough. Now, the real question is there going to be an endgame relying on fighting difficult enemies and actually feel satisfying and actually be repeatable? Well, we'll have to see about that, because this game does have Abyss, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it also has something similar to Honkai's Elysian Realm, which is kind of like a simulated universe from Honkai's Star Rail in a way, but you only play one character and you go through the entire thing. And so far it's decent, but we'll have to see how it is later on. Anyways, I just wanted to talk about these amazing fights, and I'm really excited to see more. Really, really enjoyable, and thanks a bunch for watching. For the rest of the video, you'll just see me fighting this monkey. Thanks a bunch for watching, and I'll see you next time.
用吗？意气长存。
借力打力。
这样用吗？